David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army, retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the Correctional Facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us.
Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army, retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the Correctional Facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us.
Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army, retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the Correctional Facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us.
Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army, retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the correctional facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us.
Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragog, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army, retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the correctional facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us.
There are no changes or tabled items on the agenda.
Thank you. So there's one case for today's hearing, and it is case number 235360. Salah, the conceptual plan amendment and preliminary and final subdivision plat, how it's styled. Mr. Quintana, would you present staff's case, please? Yes, please.
Yes.
Matt, they can't hear me. I can hear me too well. Okay. Is that better? Okay.
Thank you, Hearing Officer Eber. Correo Development, Villa Hermosa Development LLC, applicant, Design Ingenuity, agent, request approval of a conceptual plan amendment to add daycare facility as an approved use to the Neighborhood Center subdistrict of the Community College District and replacing a 100-unit hotel with a 100-unit independent living facility and also adding a grocery store to the approved use list. The applicant also requests preliminary plat approval for phases 1, consisting of 3 lots, and phase 2, consisting of 7 lots, and final subdivision plat approval for phase 1. On April 14th, 2015, the Board of County Commissioners approved a master plan to allow a phased mixed-use development on the property, which included 2 phases and contained a neighborhood center, employment center, shopping center, office/retail space, and a hotel. The approval included a variance of Santa Fe County Ordinance 2000-12, the Community College District Ordinance, Section 6.E or -E-3-C, which amended the Santa Fe County Land Development Code Ordinance number 1996-10 to allow a no-outlet roadway to exceed 300 feet and a variance of the CCDO Section 6.7 Road Design Standards to allow a deviation from design standards required of a living priority road. The approved master plan defines the boundaries of the landscape types and thereby determines the configuration of the various zones on the master plan. Taking into consideration the flatlands, hillsides, pinon junipers, grasslands, and arroyos of the CCDO land use map and land use systems map. The master plan includes 7.4 acres of neighborhood center, 21.4 acres of employment center, and 32.1 acres of open space. The remaining 3.1 acres consist of road right-of-way. On January 12, 2016, the BCC approved a request for a master plan amendment to allow up to 12 commercial lots on the property, to increase the amount of seating allowed in the church/religious institution, and for preliminary and final plat and development plan to create 3 commercial lots on 24+ acres for Soleil Phase 1. The BCC final order was recorded on April 13, 2016. Therefore, the expiration date of the conceptual plan under Section 4.9.9.10 of the Sustainable Land Development Code, Ordinance 2016-9, was April 13, 2021, and the expiration of preliminary and final plat and development plan pursuant to Sections 5.7.11 and 5.8.7 of the SLDC was initially April 13, 2018. On August 14, 2018, the Board of County Commissioners approved a 3-year extension of the approved preliminary plat and final plat for Soleil Phase 1 in accordance with Sections 5.7.11 and 5.8.7 of the SLDC. The BCC final order was recorded on November 28, 2018. The expiration date of the preliminary and final development plan was thus extended to April 13, 2021. On March 9, 2021, the BCC approved a 2-year conceptual plan time extension in conformance with the Sustainable Land Development Code. The conceptual plan would therefore be valid until April 13, 2023. The BCC also approved an extension of preliminary and final plat for a period of 1 year, which would be the maximum extension allowed under state law. The board found that the delays in construction of the Northeast Connector should not delay the recordation of the preliminary and final plat for Soleil Phase 1, and an amendment to a previously imposed condition was well taken. The condition number 8, shall read as follows: the construction may begin, but the Soleil development is not permitted occupancy until the Northeast Connector is completed. The applicant had failed to record final plat and therefore it expired. The applicant now is requesting approval of a conceptual plan amendment to add the following uses: a daycare to the neighborhood center and replacing a 100-unit hotel with a 100-unit independent living facility and a grocery store to the approved use list. The applicant also requests preliminary plat for phases 1 and 2 and final subdivision plat for phase 1. Phase 1 will consist of 3 lots and phase 2 will have 7 lots for a total of 10 lots. Phase 1 is located on the western side of the property and phase 2 on the eastern side. The 64-acre property is within the planned development district of the Santa Fe Community College District. Initially, the applicant was requesting a crematorium within the employment center, but this use was withdrawn. This application has been reviewed for compliance with the applicable standards set forth in Chapter 7 of the SLDC as follows: access, fire protection, landscape and buffering, lighting, signs, parking and loading, water supply, wastewater and water conservation, open space, protection of historic and archaeological resources, terrain management, flood prevention and flood control, solid waste, and affordable housing. Staff's recommendation. Staff has determined that the application for conceptual plan, preliminary plat for phases 1 and 2, and final plat for phase 1 is in compliance with the subdivision and design standards set forth in the SLDC. Staff recommends approval for conceptual plan to add a daycare facility as an approved use to the neighborhood center subdistrict of the community college district and replacing a 100-unit hotel with a 100 independent living facility and adding a grocery store to the approved use list. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary and final plat subject to the following conditions. Madam Ebert, before I enter the conditions into the record, there is an amendment to condition number 9 that staff would like to read.
Condition number 9, okay?
Condition number 9 currently reads, vertical construction shall not be approved until the northeast connector is open. Staff would like to amend this condition to read, construction may begin, but the Soleil development is not permitted occupancy until the northeast connector is completed. Madam Chair, may I enter the conditions into the hearing or for record?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I stand for any questions.
Mr. Quintana, the way I understand it from your report is this project began under the old code, 1996, and the Board of County Commissioners has then looked at this plan under the new code and its requirements and also approved it. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, Hearing Officer Ebert, that is correct.
And I did see in reviewing some of this information, I did see Roadrunner Realty mentioned. Were they the prior owners of this property?
Madam Chair, Hearing Officer Ebert, that is correct.
And going to the exhibits that you've provided me today, I looked at the ones online, but I think there's some differences. And specifically, we were talking about Exhibit 10.
Madam Chair, Hearing Officer Ebert, that is correct. Prior to uploading, Exhibit 10 was not present in the exhibits at the time of upload, and that has been provided today.
And the Exhibit 10 that I'm looking at is the Affordable Housing Plan, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then in this same packet, there was an Exhibit 11 that's blank.
Madam Chair, Hearing Officer Ebert, that is correct. That was an error on counting staff's part, and it is initially left blank.
Okay. So at this time, what's before the hearing officer is simply the amendments to the conceptual plan, is that correct?
That is correct.
Just a minute, let me go through my notes. Mr. Quintana, is the proposed daycare facility, is that planned for phase 1 or phase 2, or do you know?
Hearing Officer Eber, it is planned in phase 2.
And from what I believe you just testified, this conceptual plan and the proposed amendments with the conditions, as staff stated, would comply with section 4.9.9.6, which is the general approval for conceptual plans. Is that correct?
Hearing Officer Eber, that is correct.
And that it also complies with the specific conceptual plan requirements under the Community College District?
Hearing Officer Eber, that is correct.
I did see in, I think it was Exhibit 9, it was NBA 128. It was the Department of Cultural Affairs report.
Hearing Officer Eber, Exhibit 9 should be the county utility line extension and delivery agreement.
Then it would have been after that, because I believe it went the fire department, public works, and then the cultural affairs. What they stated was that the cultural affairs, there would be a need for a permanent archaeological easement, and I just wondered the status of that.
Hearing Officer Eber, yes, they did note that, and that will be reflected in the final subdivision plat. And is also a condition of approval that it be placed within that easement in today's hearing.
Oh, all right, thank you. And looking at the permitted uses for the community college, this is specifically I can't remember the sub-district. It's community college NV or NC?
The neighborhood center.
Neighborhood center,
Yes, ma'am.
yes. Thank you. And would the daycare, proposed daycare center be a permitted use in that?
In the current SLDC under Table 8-44, it is a permitted use.
And would the independent living facility also be a permitted use?
That is correct.
And you stated that the crematorium has been withdrawn. Is there any funeral home or cemetery at all involved in this master plan?
In the previous approved master plan, that was already granted. That is not in today's request.
And is that a permitted use in this particular district?
The cemetery,
Yes.
it is not a permitted use at this time. Is it an open space? Is it in the open space? Yeah. In the open space, it may be. I will need to refer back to Table 844 for confirmation. However, that is a previous approval that is not reflected in today's case. A part of approval. It was previously approved for that use already.
And that was strictly just to a cemetery?
I had provided the amended conceptual plan, master plan as an exhibit to show those actual uses, and it should be exhibits 15, 16. Exhibit 13, apologies. Would you like for me to read the previous approvals?
I was specifically interested in that one. I couldn't find a definite. I'm looking at 13. Is it, it's shown here on this plat somewhere?
Yes, ma'am, at the upper right-hand corner, right under Neighborhood Center. It is cemeteries and funeral homes and churches/religious institutions.
Okay. Mr. Quintana, the exhibit packet that I was delivered today, it doesn't have the customary page numbering on it. Is there some reason for that?
I'm sure. Here now, so that is correct. That was just a quick print for a physical copy from you, not off of the website. But
Okay, so if I go back to the website.
Everything is exactly the same. The only thing that you contain in your packet today that was not on the website was Exhibit 10.
Exhibit 10, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Quintana. I don't have any questions at this time. I may after the presentation by the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you.
And is the applicant here to present this case?
And sorry, should I repeat that for the record? I'm Aura Lynn Guerrero Ortiz with Design Ingenuity. I'm the applicant's agent. I'm actually a civil engineer. And my address is P.O. Box 2758, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87504. I'm not going to make a presentation today. I hope that's okay. I do want to agree to all conditions that staff has presented, but I'd actually like to add an additional condition that the neighborhood has requested. I would respectfully ask that we have a condition that says crematoriums will permanently be prohibited on the Soleil property. This shall be noted on the conceptual plan and on the subdivision plats.
Thank you.
And I will stand for any questions you might have.
I do have a couple of questions. Is this correct spelling of the LLC Corrillo?
Yes, that is correct.
And were they the successor owners to Roadrunner Realty?
That's correct.
Was this a situation where the property went into foreclosure?
No, the property has passed through a couple of hands through the years. I think the long delay on the Northeast Connector was a direct responsible for that, actually. But the Roadrunner Real Estate purchased it approximately 2 years ago and then formed a separate LLC just associated with this project. So the people who own Roadrunner are still involved in this project.
So they're involved in the Corrillo LLC?
Yes, they are.
And this Northeast Connector, what is that? I don't know what it is.
That's a roadway that's currently being constructed. It'll operate like a frontage road on the south side of I-25. So to go backwards a little bit in history, when Soleil first was moving forward with project approvals about 2015, that was pre-COVID, and Richards Avenue had some traffic issues. The community was trying to get additional access roads into the neighborhood, and the county backed them. And they proposed what is called the Northeast and the Southeast Connector, which are going to be major arterials that'll serve that community college district. This project was caught in the middle in a way in that it couldn't have excessive traffic added to Richards Avenue. And so really it had to have a baby project to begin with until in the future when these roads were constructed. And so, and our approvals were often tied to the development of this road. Funding and other issues resulted in a lot of delays. It's currently under construction now, and I think is expected to finish in about a year. Staff will know better than I, but it's moving, it's proceeding. As part of the process, the owners of this project donated almost 10 acres of land to the county. Actually, let me correct myself, clerk the record. They donated an easement to the county for construction of the Northeast Connector, and it sits just north of the bulk of Soleil and between I-25 and the Soleil project, that Northeast Connector. And we're to have 2 accesses off of that roadway.
And will it connect Richards to something else?
Yes, Richards Avenue will have a direct connection now to St. Francis Drive via the Northeast Connector.
I see.
So what was Rabbit Road will go all the way to Dinosaur and Dinosaur Trail, and the Northeast Connector is being converted into a traffic circle. So as you come down Richards Avenue, once you pass the freeway, you'll only hit traffic circles as you go towards the community college.
Okay, good. And I know I read somewhere that there's some residential component of all of this. It's not before me right now, but I'm just trying to get my mind around this. Will there be residential or single-family residential, or will it be apartments?
We have one track that we've set aside for a maximum of 95, either condos, townhomes, or apartments. That hasn't been decided. It's part of phase 2. And I think someone needs to actually spend some time to lay out a project to figure out how many will comfortably fit there yet. But we got approval years ago to allow up to 95 of them.
And that's all the residents there. There will be
that. Other than that, the independent living facility.
You just give me a minute to look.
No problem.
I did notice on what's marked for me as, I believe it's part of your submission, and it's under the restrictive covenants. It's the second paragraph under the page that is entitled restrictive covenants. I don't know if you have that in front of you.
I do have it on the sheet of paper under the general covenants that were placed on sheet 3B, I think it is. Those covenants, one of the times that we were trying to get this project approved, there was some concerns from some neighbors, and they wanted to control or wanted to have some input on the design and the look of those buildings. And also they wanted to protect their views from Asara Village. And so we set height limitations based on the elevation of I-25, so we weren't going above, our building heights weren't going above the elevations of the freeway, and we set some architectural controls that they requested. We tried to work with the community as much as we could. I think we've achieved that, I hope.
So in that particular paragraph, it just says that the 2-story buildings are permit everywhere and 3-story buildings are permitted on certain lots.
Yes.
And the maximum allowable height of parapets for lots is noted on the second page of the proposed final development plan. Do you know what that is? Because I believe in that community college district there is a maximum height.
Oh, well, employment centers actually allow taller buildings than we've proposed, I believe. But nothing, I think, we've never proposed anything higher than 36. But what was shown on the sheets of paper that are before you, in this case, sheet 3B, was a top of parapet elevation that was actually shown on the covenants on that sheet. And the purpose, again, was to record that sheet so that it would be something that the county staff would enforce rather than the neighborhood would have to enforce. But it was our purpose just to protect the neighbors' views.
Okay. I think that's answered all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, does staff have any questions for the applicant?
Hearing Officer Eber, no questions at this time, but we can concur with the additional condition of approval, condition to the note to be added.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
This time, I would ask if there's anyone in the room who wants to make comment on this application. Are you the only person, or are there other people? There's several? Okay. Well, would you come forward and state your name, be sworn in?
Oh, thank you. Okay. Yes. It's Lynn Christensen, and you want address too? Is that what you said? 3216 Najoni Drive in Santa Fe, in Pueblos del Sol. So I guess my first question is, can someone read back to me, just because I'm stressed at this point, what the actual language is about the crematorium that's going on the site?
Can the court reporter find that? I took notes, but I'm not sure if it's word for word.
What I initially proposed, it was crematoriums will permanently be prohibited from the Soleil site, maybe Soleil property, and this shall be noted on the conceptual plan and subdivision plat.
Thank you.
Okay, so Hearing Officer Hebert, I think that sounds really permanent. Is it to you? It's been a long struggle. That's why I'm asking the question.
I understand what you're saying. It would seem that the plain language of that would prohibit any crematorium on that property.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you so much. I stand representing over 400 different households who signed a petition to preclude that crematorium. We have several people here who were prepared to testify about the impact of a crematorium on the neighborhood. I just want to at least name them, and then if you would like to hear from them, they will. Inessa Mavlova is a nuclear engineer. Paulo help me out, Paulo. Rezer is an environmental scientist and geologist. Dave Cobrain is a hazardous waste program manager from the Environment Department. Chris Wiseman is an architect and expert planner. So we have such great input, and we represent. I wanted to go through within that site that was proposed, Madam Hearing Officer, was Desert Sage, Oshara Village, Pueblos del Sol, Carlos Rey del Sur, Mission Viejo, all with Mission Viejo, all within half a mile of the proposed crematorium. In addition, Villas de Toscano, Park Plazas, and La Pradera were all within a mile. And the code, because we've learned a lot about crematoriums and about the county code. The county code allows placement. It does not allow it within a residential area, but it does allow it. It can allow it right next door to it. So they moved it from, that's what happened. It got moved from what was called, it was called a neighborhood center. That's where those, that's where the cemetery is. That's the neighborhood center. And so because we made a point that it didn't fit code, it was moved only to the employment center, which is still within that same 64-acre space and within half a mile of all those and a mile of two others. So it was going to impact many, many villages. We were quite concerned, and so are the neighbors. I just want to let you know how much first, Oralyn and developers, how much we appreciate that you've permanently taken it off the site. You have no idea what an impact that is. It's huge for us. We didn't know what else to do but organize. And so we thank you that we've had the opportunity to let you know that. But I think I don't know if you want to hear from the experts at this point, but tell me what would be helpful for you.
Well, I think since the agreement is that this approval will only be conditioned on the permanent exclusion, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
But I appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you. And I thank you for this opportunity because it's good to be able to say it out loud and hope that in the future that no crematoriums are placed near people. It is such a hazard to everyone's health. And I thank you, and I want to thank all the people. You're going to talk about something in addition, I know. So we have someone who had that to talk about and something else. But in terms of this, I want to say thank you so much to all the people who worked so hard to make it possible to take that crematorium off of the plat. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Then there's another. Would you come forward and be sworn in?
Buzz on. There we go. I do. My name is Chris Wiseman. I am president of Mission Viejo Homeowners Association, and I live at 3405 Calle Viejo. It's Santa Fe, zip 87507. First item I had on the list, Lynn has definitely covered it, and so it had to do with the crematorium. But just so that you all know, I'd like to give you a little of my background. I'm a retired architect. I worked for a very large and was senior design partner in a very large architectural firm in Phoenix, Arizona for over 35 years. As part of that architectural firm, we had a land planning and we also had city planners involved in our firm. I personally have been involved in a number of community plans and planning, much similar as is being proposed here. And I personally have designed many community and neighborhood centers. So that having been said, I have spent the last couple of weeks actually reviewing all of the site plan proposals, the phasing plans proposed, so on and so forth. And so I would like to make a few of these comments just for your consideration. Again, we thank the developer for doing away with the crematorium, but there are some other issues as a land planner myself and an architect that I am a bit troubled with on the proposed master plan. If you'll allow me to go through a few of those, I would sure appreciate it.
Well, that's fine, but again, the master plan has been approved, as I understand it. So at this point, we're looking at those specific additions and withdrawals to the conceptual plans. But please go on and state your concerns. They might be beneficial to the developers.
Thank you, thank you. I think, just very quickly, phase one, basically, as we understand it from the master plan, would be start under construction immediately, is what we have read. And those consisted uses are 3 commercial lots, a small park, wastewater treatment, stables, riding academies, cemeteries, and funeral homes, churches, and then daycare, independent living facility, and a grocery store. It's unclear whether or not the daycare center, the independent living facility, and the grocery store, in fact, will be part of phase one. So that leaves us with a cemetery, and this is one thing that caught our attention. It says cemeteries and funeral homes. So, and it also says stables in the open space. So our main concern is that it appears that the very first phase will consist of cemeteries and funeral homes, basically, as an entry to the whole property. And then coupled with that, the open space will consist of stables, both plural, riding academies that will accommodate 20 horses, cemeteries, again, cemetery crypts, columbarium, which I had to look up the definition for that, but for those who don't know, it's a place where cremated individuals are interned for their final resting place. I guess our main concern, and I raise this just as I grew up in Wyoming around horse stables and riding academies, and I've yet to visit one of them that was odorless. And so my concern is that in latter phases, you're going to have restaurants, grocery stores, you're going to have all kinds of residential people living adjacent to these kinds of functions. And so I'm just raising it as a land planner and something that I have never seen done in any of our plans that we've ever done. And I question, is it really appropriate to have, and I might add to that, in that phase two, there's a statement both in terms of open space and neighborhood centers that it says it starts out same as above, referring to those uses that appear on phase one. So that means that we might have, okay, maybe we'll have a cemetery in phase one, and then we can have also cemeteries in phase two, as well as a number of those other functions that I mentioned. In the neighborhood center, it also says same as above. And so that also includes cemeteries, funeral homes, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the issues that I think need to have some further definition. Will there be one cemetery allocated on the entire property, or might we end up with cemeteries in phase one and phase two, both in neighborhood centers and open spaces? That's just a question I'm raising as a land planner. Many of the other functions that are called out for in Phase 2 in the employment center and the shopping center and retail sites, these are all good and fine. They're exactly the kind of uses that we would expect to be in a neighborhood plan or even a neighborhood shopping center type thing. And we have no problems with that. And I'm just purely raising some of these other issues that as serious planners, we feel that having cemeteries, riding stables, and basically located within is what predominantly is a single-family residential area. Now, I understand that this property has no single-family residences, but it's still multifamily, and having a series of stables adjacent to an assisted living facility kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit, as do some of these concerns about driving to see grandma through cemeteries. And so with that, I'll excuse myself, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Wiseman. Mr. Wiseman's comments have prompted me to wonder about something, Mr. Quintana, that I think you could address. The open space designation on both of these phases, as I remember going through this, was significant, 15 acres, I think, in each piece. And is having a stable with horses considered to be open space? I was thinking open space meant no activity. Is that not a correct interpretation?
Aaron Reber, that was a part of the previous master plan approval, so therefore I cannot comment on that at this time.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did the applicant shed some light on this one?
I can tell you what I know. When the project was originally developed, we followed the Community College District Ordinance. And under that ordinance, there were several items that could be allowed in open space. Riding stables, cemeteries were one of them, parks, things like that. And frankly, I doubt a riding stable will ever be developed on this property. At the time, I was the one that labeled cemeteries on it. I doubted that a cemetery would actually be developed. I didn't know. I was just listing things that were possibilities under the code. And that in general, the list of many of the uses on the Soleil project are things that were allowable under the code. Since things are developing and people are moving forward with ideas, as far as I've heard, I've never heard of any concept of a riding stable probably being put in at this time. And I doubt it ever will, because the people who own the property are concerned about the same things that you've mentioned, the impacts on the available land, the other available land. But there are 32 acres of open space on this property, and they do intend to at least develop cemeteries on the open space, or at least portions of it. I'm at this point, it's going to probably be one cemetery. Yeah, I am only saying cemeteries because that was how it was listed, as cemeteries, like grocery stores, like restaurants. All of them have plurals in the code, and that's how it was presented in all the documentation.
Well, wait, this is getting
Sorry.
It's difficult to take this down in the record. If you're going to make a comment, you'll have to come up and be sworn in. Okay, thank you for helping us with that.
Certainly.
Thank you, Mr. Wiseman. And is there anyone else who wants to make a comment on this? Yes.
Hello, Rebecca? I'm sorry. It is. Rebecca Argay, 3212 Nasoni Drive in Santa Fe. My question is to the developers. On the plaque, it seems that the funeral home is going to be very close, if not across, the assisted living. Is that correct? So again, that doesn't seem to be such a, it doesn't seem to be even moral, a very moral, that's so, seems to be such a wrong thing, planning. And with all the land that's there, with all the construction developing, certainly it should be able to be moved slightly where it's not right visibly in that same area. So that, another consideration perhaps.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments on this application today? Yes.
I just might add, it's possible that the funeral home will be next to the assisted living. It might not be. That property that's labeled as assisted living possibly could also be a bank or a vet hospital. I mean, there was actually a laundry list of other possibilities for that property. So it's just, I'm saying it could happen, but we don't know what's going to happen yet. I understand the aesthetics sound a little concerning. I think it will have, the first things that'll probably be developed will be the funeral home and the cemetery. And what early sketches I've seen are very attractive. It looks like more like a park. So I'm hoping that it's going to be something that other projects will want to be next to. Thank you.
Thank you. Does staff have any comment to make? Are there any other comments online? I don't see anything.
Hearing Officer Hebert, there are some individuals online. I don't see anyone raising their hand wanting to speak. There's 3 individuals online, but nobody's wanting to speak.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there are no other comments on this application, I will prepare a recommended order within 15 business days. And I appreciate all of your attendance to this. I think it was definitely worthwhile. You got a major concession from the developer. Thank you.